and welcome to Infinity Nikki community news, which mostly consists on me going through Reddit and reporting the good things and the bad things, anything that grabbed my attention really in about the past month, because I do these once every 4 weeks, which means that it tends to be a little bit of the old patch and a little bit of the new patch as well. So for the good things, let's begin here. I do like the current patch's story. That's not even related to Reddit right now. And I do think that the whole environment is great and that the whole new dresses are fantastic for the most part. So when I talk about things that have happened that are frustrating or anger inducing, I just want you to have this kind of a balance that explains that this is not my complete opinion on the game. This is just what has transpired in the community in the past month or so. So let's begin here. One of the good things is that the previous banner, so 2.1, drop rates were not weighted weird, and if we go to gonjo.us, you can see that with the new drop rates, sorry, they're also not weighted weird. Both of the new banners and the banner that came previous, effectively, the weights on the item are kind of what we expect the weights on the item to be. You would expect all accessories to have the highest drop rate. Then all the medium items would be shoes, socks, back pieces, coats, that sort of thing. And then the dress or top and bottom and hair would be the rarest to get items. That is what you should expect because that is how Infinity Nikki drop rate works. But there were times when if an item is particularly sought after, normally it's if a back piece has wings, especially, for some reason that item then gets weighted so that a lot less people actually get it at the time when they're supposed to get it. So if you ever see the back piece dropping less than tops and bottoms, full dresses, or hair, that's worrying. So good news is that we have not experienced that in the previous patch, nor in the current patch. And in the previous patch, the sock shoe thing, which I believe was shoes. I think it was shoes. I don't remember what this is anymore, but was it shoes or was it socks? No, it was socks. And then the shoes were just the heel bit. Anyway, they were super extra special effecty, and majority of the people going for the set really wanted them. So the fact that that set piece, Infold didn't weigh it down to make it drop rarer is nice. The fact that in the current banners, none of that is happening is also nice. That is a good thing. We're pointing out good things as well. Another good thing is that Infinity Nikki is back in the top 20. If I can zoom, this is always a list that's very hard to navigate. It's called, I forget what it's called. Gacha monthly revenue report by the tower of some sort. Sensor Tower, there we go. This comes from Sensor Tower. It only really calculates the money from the mobile side, and remember that Infinity Nikki is worse and worse to run on a mobile device, so that's not where the major revenue of it is supposed to be coming from, but it's a good kind of... It gives us an ability to predict whether the revenue is up and down, because if mobile revenue is either up or down, that would imply that the same kind of trend is happening across PS5 and PC as well. And for this month in particular, I am recording when it's 2.2, revenue is way up. Way up. We're at 9 million out of 3 million, which was the previous month. That was way down. Way down. And It's so up that we have somehow outclassed Honkai Star Rail, though they're having a bad month, and we're having a good month in comparison. Either way, revenue up is good for game health, so it kind of falls into good news category of this. Moving on to a bit of a neutral thing. Wings of Wishes got a rerun last month, and the final evolution alternative form got really dunked on Chinese media. What you need to do now is quickly revert this octopus. And it's just a repeated comment. Because this is her, like, final evolution. And it just kind of, it looks like the alternative version just kind of, like, unfurls the dress down. And it does look like a weird octopus sort of thing. I wanted to include this because it is sort of funny. I do believe that Infold can't really do long, well, short to long well. So, like, whenever they get a short dress and they need to imagine an alternative evolution for it, they do a really piss poor job. Whenever it's a long dress and they need to imagine an alternative evolution for it, they just kind of cut off parts of the dress and make it shorter. And they're pretty good at that. Like, I'm not gonna complain about long to short final evolution thing, but the short dresses really, they need something more than just the amount of details that they have been giving. For 2.1, I really even struggled to see the difference between the final evolution and not final evolution for the dress. Obviously, Wings of Wishes became an octopus. Then for 2.2, the deer dress, it's a top, but it's like tops and bottoms, but it is a long top. It's the sleeves and the horns that change, not the top itself, which is kind of disappointing. So once again, Infold needs to kind of work on their short dress or long top final evolution skills, if you ask me. On more serious part of news, Infinity Nikki got hit by plagiarism scandal, and on the West, they were briefly being defended by the community for it, saying, well, maybe it's a collaboration. But anyway, Infold stole from a major cartoon inside China. They stole the design of the deer, and the Chinese people were very not having it. There was a lot of outrage on the Chinese side against Infold, and they were finding all of the other parts of plagiarism that has happened, like the previous discussed contacts that stole the Frozen 2 banner, or how this icon looks very similar to, I think this is Genshin Impact. Like, 1-to-1, pretty much. So effectively, Chinese players were very much not having it when this has occurred. And because they were so angry about this, they also started looking at other versions of everything that Infold has stolen. This seems to be a reoccurring issue where obviously somebody is doing something really wrong at their job. If I was to be nice to that person, I would say that perhaps they copy images for their mood board or like stand-in assets, and then they forget about it, and perhaps they're overworked and they're submitting work with assets that shouldn't be there. But at the same time, this is like a reoccurring problem. When it was just the Frozen contacts, I laughed it off last month, but this is... You're getting it from big franchises. Like, this is a very big thing for China, even if it isn't that big for the West. Frozen is also really noticeable. Genshin Impact is very noticeable, so it's not like it's an obscure thing, and it is a repetitive thing that keeps on happening, which just makes you wonder, is Infold being like sabotaged from within by like some very upset employee? Is somebody just like really bad at their job and they keep on just fubbing it by throwing in assets that don't belong to them and thinking, well, I can cut my workflow and nobody's gonna notice, and then these problems keep on reoccurring. Either way, I can only speculate, and it is obviously a problem inside of Infold, so we can't really say what is exactly happening, but they pissed off a lot of people with this happening so much that they had to release full-on apology. We sincerely apologize for the recent oversight in our promotional materials, which unintentionally referenced the classic imagery of a deer of 9 colors from the Shanghai Animation Film Studio. Upon confirming the issue, we immediately removed the content in question and conducted a thorough internal review. Moving forward, we are committed to strengthening our internal processes to prevent similar incidents and to continue providing content that is both high quality and trustworthy. That is their internal issue, so like, whatever it is, I hope that they solve it. And if they don't, it's gonna be lawsuits from other companies rather than their own players that are gonna be the primary issue. It's just so weird that this is like a reoccurring thing and like a reoccurring issue that they're constantly running in like a very short amount of span of time. So whatever it is, I do hope that they solve it. On the creator side, like, because I have a bit of inside look from, other people making content, I know that the whole plagiarized deer was a problem because they released promo material. A lot of people did videos with that promo material, and then they had to change the promo material because of plagiarism. So for a lot of creators, it's like, do I take my video down? Do I redo it? And it's not like it's early access materials or whatever. It's like materials that were released to absolutely everybody. And then the creators got excited, made content about it, and then the whole plagiarism issue releases. So it's something that peeves a lot of people. It peeves people that obviously think that plagiarism is bad because plagiarism is bad. It peeves other companies. It peeves people that are trying to be first in making content and get out there whenever like the new thing drops, because suddenly the company has to withdraw the thing that they just dropped. Like, it fucks over a lot of people. So whatever is happening, I hope that they can like solve it and like stop that, because that would be nice. Another issue is that Infold is over-monetizing, and the West by this point kinda got complaint fatigue, where people are like, well, of course they're over-monetizing, it's a gacha, what do you expect? Chinese players enjoy these kind of things. But on the Chinese side, a lot of people are just like openly angry. So the biggest example would be the newest tiered pack. The Chinese players are called worst value tiered pack. There's like a lot of well-written long complaints. I really feel like this time tiered gift is the worst value. The stuff in it feels so generic. Both tiers feel like they're just filled with small trinkets you would find in the Starlight shop, not versatile, and once the holiday's over, they're just sit in your inventory. Honestly, I wouldn't even buy them separately with pink diamonds. There's a lot of complaints that currently what you're getting for your money in value has dropped to a point where the newest tiered purchase is just not worth it. So there's a lot of complaints that, hey, you're starting to sell us shit on the stick. Meanwhile, from my side, my complaint would be that tiered purchases are even a thing. I would say that if each tier was for sale separately, it would be better for all customers. It would also be better value thing. For example, in the newest one, I do like makeup, but I'm not gonna be spending £5 to get that makeup. the tier that the makeup is in only costs £2.50, but you need to buy all the tiers that come before it. Another thing is that tiered purchases are just really inconvenient because you have to buy one tier at a time, and then you need to claim every item in it individually. If it was just separate mini packs, we could still preserve all of the amazing savings that some people keep on praising the tiered packs for being, because like the lowest tier tends to have like the cheapest one pull that you can buy in games. So if you're buying pulls, this is good for you. And then like extra tiers have goodies for seemingly low price, but the catch is that you have to buy everything that comes up to that point. I already made a video last month on monetization in this game, and I honestly don't really like where it's going. I received the Discord messages because, yes, I do have a private Discord. I'm gonna add an invite to it in the description down below if you're interested, about how last year's the accumulated, like, the thing that you get for spending money, like, the extra bits that you get for spending money, I think they're called, like, top-up event, that, like, last year, Infold was a lot more generous than in the newest top-up events this year. I kinda expected it, but I'm also really tired of top-up events, because we're having another double one, which means that getting both outfits off the top-up event is something like spending £60 a month on this game just to get to both outfits, when if it was for Stellarites, I might have gotten them because they do kind of interest me. Another issue is that you have the Stellarites as a currency and even triple bonus that is currently running, but there are quite a lot of things in the store that are now exclusive for real money. Like, there's one outfit that's inside a bundle that you can either pick up £12 if you just want the outfit, or you can pay like full £20 if you want absolutely everything that's in the bundle. Once again, it just kind of feels like the kind of thing that you could have sold for Stellarite. And, you know, you need to pay money to get Stellarites, but as Stellarites also come with the monthly, I think Infold is prioritizing getting people to freshly spend every single patch now, rather than allowing people to spend over a larger period of time and then accumulate the extra store currency that they can then spend on whatever it is that they want. Honestly, I am tired of spending, so I'm not gonna. It's just, if you released it in a different currency option, I might have gotten it, and now I'm just not gonna. Sucks to be you. Moving on, let's talk about reruns and the fact that it's not happening during the double banner time, and that it feels like all the outfits will just take forever to rerun now. I will allow you to just go and read this whole post from the person that wrote it. Let's talk about reruns because I am anxious. They put out their idea of what the rerun schedule might be based on what we got so far, which is we got a singular 5-star rerun during 2.1. We haven't gotten any reruns during 2.0 nor 2.2, which is a double banner patch. Which means that we're likely gonna get Dance Till Dawn or Stardust Flare at 2.3. Then at 2.4, we're gonna get whichever one didn't rerun. 2.5 is likely a double banner patch, so we're likely skipping again. 2.6 is when Timeless Melody returns, 1.3 by the way, guys. 2.7 is when Crimson Rhapsody returns. According to our current estimations based on the idea of what has happened before, then 2.8 is likely to be a double banner patch. At 2.9, we'll see Crimson Feather or Snowy Ballad, and at 2.10, we'll likely see Snowy Ballad or Crimson Feather, and by 2.11, we'll get to Enchanted Encounter, which means that by the time we're entering 3.0, we would have rerun roughly half of one patch cycle. 1.x patch cycle. We would get about halfway. You see, one of the big issues about this is not only that new players can't catch up, but it's also that they promised alternative evolutions for 5-star banners, and they promised handhelds for 4-star banners, and both drop at the same time as the rerun drops. To give you an example, I own both 1.7 Snake Lady in full, and I also own Timeless Melody in full. If this person is correct at the rerun schedule, then I will see my Timeless Melody dress get its alternative version at 2.6, which is still quite a few months from now. And I am just not gonna see my Snake Lady get her alternative version in this patch cycle. At all. Not this year. Which sucks, honestly. If they're gonna be so sluggish at reruns, it would be great if they just updated the clothes with the updates that we were promised for people that already own them before the rerun gets here. And then, of course, at 3.0, you're gonna get even more complicated schedule because now you haven't rerun half of 1.0 and, well, 1.x is in the whole year of update 1 for Infinity Nikki, if you understand what I mean. And now you're gonna have to start rerunning 2.0? Like, how's that gonna work? What are you gonna do with this eventually? Are you gonna start another, like, permanent banner and just, like, unload all the old outfits? And, like, how are you gonna make this work? And it wouldn't be so bad if, like, everybody wasn't waiting on, like, promised alterations to the outfits that we already have. If I remember, they even, like, promised some alterations to 2.0 outfits, mainly because I think that they're changing about how they're doing, like, dance poses and props and whatever, but, like, this is off my memory, so don't mind me. But what I'm saying is they keep on, like, adding to old banners, but they're only actually gonna add to them when they hit reruns. And with reruns being as sluggish as they are, this is an actual problem. Now, I don't know how many of you guys know about the Top-Up Center. It's a place where you can buy Infinity Nikki stuff, like top-ups, as in Stellarites, and stuff like that, without being logged into the game. Some people would be exclusively using these because they were cheaper in some currencies, because the top-up center would be in dollars as opposed to euros or pounds, or if you were traveling the world, it was kind of good protection to get it at, like, a cheaper rate. So a lot of people were actually, like, relying on the top-up center. And also with the tiered purchases in the top-up center, you could buy the whole tiered purchase instead of clicking buy on every single separate thing. And most recently, people have noticed that during 2.2, top-up center no longer got the newest deals. And when people talked to customer support about that, the customer support just said, yeah, that's as it should be. Like, Top-Up Center will not get some deals that are available in game. So this is an extra hurdle for people that used the Top-Up Center to get purchases in game. So now a lot of people are rethinking their buying strategies because it's less convenient. It's gonna be in a less convenient monetary unit for them. It's gonna be more expensive. So it's a shame that it is the path that Infold is deciding to take, but it goes very much in line with there being more real money purchases inside the store, and with Stellarites kind of getting devalued because you can get a lot less stuff for them, and with there being less value in the tiered purchases, and there being less value in like the top-up events where like if you spend money then you get like outfit and some diamonds back, and it goes very well in line with greedier monetization, but it still sucks for people that do rely on this. Another thing that kind of sucks is a lot of translations that were not English or Chinese were already AI translated for a very long time. Well, in Brazil, in Portuguese, this patch, the translation just up and vanished. For a while now, we had poorly done translation full of errors, but in this new patch, we don't even have one. Everything in the story is in English, except for the cutscenes. Just going backwards, guys. We're not even doing AI translations anymore, which were shit. Now we're just... Who needs to translate for the lesser languages? Am I right? So anyways, minority of people, as in each specific language group, is a minority in its own because Infinity Nikki tried to support quite a lot of languages, but they were only supporting good translation for a while now for Chinese and for English because, well, Chinese is their original language and they presumably are using something else than AI for the English translation. Or AI is just really good at English translation. All the other languages were getting, like, severely chipped. And now they're just losing out on translation entirely. Yay! Presumably, Infold did not remove that they support that language yet. Presumably you can still select it, which is a problem if they're not even attempting to translate anymore. Cost-cutting measures for multi-billion-dollar corporation that employs thousands of employees. I'm sure that they can't afford to do proper translations. I'm sure that they have to raise that monetization. Moving on. It's really disappointing how every patch releases with so many bugs. This patch is beautiful, the outfits are gorgeous, agreed, and the town is so vibrant and full of life. However, as with every single patch of this game I've played, and I played since the very beginning, it's full of bugs and constant crashes. The Hot Pot minigame is basically unplayable on PS5. The Momo minigame keeps glitching and returning to the menu, and the game has frozen so many times. Why do they release patches in this kind of state? It feels like they go for quantity over quality every single time. And this is not a singular complaint. This is a repeated complaint that's highly upvoted. Anyone else having problems with constant crashing? When I'm in an shit optimization competition and my opponent is Infinity Nikki. The 2.2 experience. Hearts. Hello! Why am I so small on her screen? This is fine. Believe it or not, there is a mountain here usually. And what happened here? Well, I don't feel so bad about my island not being finished anymore. Guess whose screenshot feature wouldn't work for some reason? Just two besties running like anime girls. And with the new deer outfit, I believe? No, this girl didn't even use the deer outfit. Really? They use, like, blossoming stars, I believe. The model is levitating? so you can only see the bottom of the model inside the color lookbook for some reason. Now, during the patch release, I got quite a migraine, and when I was recording my own gameplay, I didn't pay attention and I accidentally recorded it in 360p. And then my husband had to try and AI upscale it to 1080 for me so that it doesn't completely look like a potato, but it still looks kind of weird if you guys want to go and watch that video. But one thing that I want to say is that because it was like my first time playing through the patch and my first time reactions, I only left the story in, but one thing that's very, very noticeable is that whenever I try to talk with any NPC at all, for like the story conversation, the game freezes for like good 15 to 20 seconds every single time I do this. This has only started happening during Itzaland update for me, and during Itzaland the freeze was shorter. The freeze is now longer. On top of that, as the game continues to expand, I have to be very, very careful which outfits that I wear and run in. I have 3 veils now. I tend to use none of them because cloth performance is costly. And the further the game goes, the more it feels like cloth performance is costly because the clothes that I used to be able to wear, I can't comfortably wear and keep my frame rate anymore. And this is with me having a pretty strong PC. I used to run this game on ultra graphics, I have downgraded to high. A lot of phone devices can't run it at all anymore. Like, over time, they're getting pushed out. Considering that the whole point of a free-to-play gacha is that you want as many players as possible, I am not quite entirely sure what Infold is doing in here anymore, because excuse me? Like, don't you want people to be able to play and run your game? It's weird when everybody keeps on upgrading to better and better devices. Whatever device that they can still afford an upgrade to, and the game keeps on running worse and worse over time. It almost feels like they need to honestly get a team that's just on optimization and figure out exactly what they're doing, because I don't imagine that pushing majority of the devices out into the category where the game has to be severely downgraded on settings or simply unplayable over time is ideal for a free-to-play gacha, but like, correct me if I'm wrong or just like going insane, because I think it's neither. I think that they need to take their optimization and their buggy releases a lot more seriously over time, as it is a repeated complaint. And people on phones can't play this game at all anymore over time. And people on PC have to play on lower and lower settings over time, or not use parts of their wardrobe over time, which is not okay. So anyway, once again, let me reiterate that I do actually like this game. I do think that 2.2 was a strong patch when it came to the whole environment, exploration of environment. I really liked the storyline. I think the whole Momo eats a jade stone and you're trying to get the jade stone out of Momo because my cat ate something that he's not supposed to for hours was quite adorable, and you explore a place that feels more mature and where the topic of the conversation is fairly serious, because it's kind of trying to figure out if life itself is a curse or not, which is definitely a bit different than the previous patch topic, where Nikki, being a 21-year-old woman, for some reason couldn't get to grips with people die from old age over time. It's like, in mood, this game flip-flops, and I would say that in the current update, it is in the rightful mature sort of mood that I do enjoy in my game. So to reiterate, the new update is pretty good, but this game has a lot of issues. And that's what these videos end up being every single month. They end up being a compilation of issues. I have 2 smaller complaints to still make this month. One of them is on unswitchable effects on outfits and dresses. I like to call them Eurekas because they essentially are, but they are attached to the outfit for some reason. And the second complaint is that Nikki keeps on producing small mini games that are like a copy of bigger games, but worse. Like, we got the whole behemoth raising thing, which is very similar to child raising games. We got the hot pot, which is very similar to cooking games, except the scope of these things is a lot more limited. And at the same time, they stop having all value and meaning when the patch ends. And this completely perplexes me, because it feels like the developmental time was spent to create a smaller scoped game that feels worse than playing the equivalent of that game in a dedicated game that you're not gonna revisit or reuse past the patch ending. It really perplexes me. Why not instead make a polished, reusable minigame that you update throughout the game's lifespan? Like... So anyways, those are the videos that I'm gonna be making separately. I hope I'm gonna see you then. And in general, on other videos on this channel, my current schedule is in the channel banner. If you want to know what it is, just like go straight to my channel, look at the banner, and you'll understand what we're doing at the moment. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for my Patreon supporters. Don't be shy, tell me whatever things you like and dislike about this patch. This is a place where you can both praise and critique freely. So just say whatever is on your mind in the comment section down below. And toodaloo for now.